welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. Today I have a special guest. This is my niece Kiva.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And she's got it down, right? Today I have a video for you that has a mixture of all my favorite farmhouse decor that I have created this year. I figured since I have my guests, I better spend some time with them instead of in the craft room. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And with all that being said, let's get to crafting. Okay, here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color white and in the color elephant. I'm going to use some decals that I created with my Cricut. I'm going to use 3 of these wood planks from Dollar Tree and some of these animal cutouts. I believe I got these on 24-hour crafts. And then I'm going to use some wood planks from Dollar Tree and then these jumbo craft sticks from Walmart. So I start off by removing the hangers, and then I'm going to lay those 2 wood planks together. I'm going to take my jumbo craft stick and I'm going to cut them, all 3 of them, in half, and then I'm going to lay them out all up and down the back of those planks so that we have a way of connecting them together. And I'm going to use my wood glue and my hot glue on those craft sticks, and then do that on each one of them. That way it's attached. After that, I took my white chalk paint and I painted the squares and the plaque white, and then I took my ink and painted the animals with that color as well. Once they were dry, I took my elephant chalk paint and I am just doing some dry brushing all along, just doing some distressing. And then after that, I'm going to distress the little white squares as well. Now, you may see there's a part that's not painted. That's because I'm going to put vinyl on it. But before I do that, I'm going to take my decal and I'm going to just place it up on the top here. And after I do that, I am going to take the farmhouse word and I'm going to place it on the painted section or the painted side of our sign here. And then once I have this all even, took me a few minutes to get it even, I'm just going to burnish it, and there it is. Then I took my vinyl I got from Dollar Tree and I'm just placing it right under the wording at the top there. And here I'm just cutting off that extra piece so that way I can just pull the backing right off of that vinyl and then just smooth it in place. And then I just turned it over and trimmed off that extra piece that was hanging there. After that, I took my wood glue and I'm going to use some hot glue as well, and I'm putting it all around the back of the animals, and I attach them to those wood square pieces. Then after that, I'm going to take my wood plank and I'm going to do the same thing with the wood glue and the hot glue, and I'm going to attach them onto our sign, one on top of the other. And then when I was done, I just decided I didn't like the way the vinyl and the paint, there was just seemed, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. So I decided to take these bamboo or reed sticks. I can't remember what they're called. I think they're bamboo. I got them from Amazon. They are in my Amazon store, and I just cut them down to size to kind of frame everything out. And I'm just using my wood glue and hot glue again, and then I am just hot gluing them all in place. Now, as you can see, I have that one right there by the word farmhouse that goes over the vinyl. I'm taking my wood glue and hot glue, and what do? I put them next to the squares instead of over the edging of the vinyl. And I'm like, why isn't this fitting? And then all of a sudden I realized what I did. So I tried to remove it, but it was really attached to the bottom piece there, and I didn't want to rip the vinyl, so I decided to just go ahead and re-glue it and make another strip to place at the edge of the vinyl there. Then I took some black gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm using a tapestry needle here to just bring it through the holes, and then once I had it all even, I'm going to tie a knot in the back of that so that we have a hanger. And then I'm just going to kind of glue down the backs. I don't know why I did this. I am going to cover it, but I just decided to glue those down too. And then I do cover it with some shipping paper and trim off the excess, and there it is. I absolutely love the way this came out. I just think it is so pretty. You'll have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. So DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I use about 6 or 7 of these bamboo wood pieces. Then I had this balsam wood. I think I got this from Walmart. I'm not positive. And then I've got my vinyl from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use my white chalk paint as well. So I'm starting off by taking one of those wood pieces, and I'm just trimming out, well, not trimming, I'm measuring out where I want to place the door. And I'm using my ruler because I cannot draw a straight line for the life of me. And even with the ruler, I can't draw a straight line half the time. So I'm sitting there measuring to make sure it was all straight. And then I'm going to do the same kind of thing here. I'm just making sure they're all, I think it was about a 1/4 inch, I want to say, from the edge. And then I'm going to do some on the bottom as well. And then once I had that all done, I am going to trim it out using my X-Acto knife. And this wood, you guys, is super, super soft. In fact, this lantern turns out to be really light. I probably should have used a thicker wood, which I might recreate one next time doing that. But this is kind of, I wasn't quite sure how to do it. I had a picture in my mind, so this was kind of my template. But anyways, I took some more of these sticks and I'm just cutting them down to size. I want this to look like it has shiplap, but right here I'm just doing this as the trim that goes around the door. But I wanted it also to look like shiplap above it. So after I cut these out, I'm going to use my wood glue and hot glue to glue them in place before I start doing the rest of them, because I wanted these pieces to be still. So then I cut some of these sticks down to the same size, and here I'm just kind of measuring and marking where I want to cut for it to have that barn shape. I'm not a good drawer at all, and it did take me a little bit, but I think it came out pretty cute. But you know, a barn kind of has a flat roof and then angles downward, so that's what I'm trying to create here. And then once I had this all drawn out, I cut them all down with my miter shears, and then I glued them all in with my wood glue and hot glue. After that, I took 2 more of these planks, and I'm using again the wood glue and the hot glue and gluing the sides on. We're going to create a box. And then once I had these 2 pieces on, I took another piece and I cut it in half. And don't ask me why I did it this way, because now that I think about it, I'm not really sure why. I think I was thinking that way it'd be easier to put a candle in it, but I don't put a bottom on this, and so you can just place it on top. So you can do it either way. You could put a full sheet on there or a half sheet like I'm doing. And I'm just doing like I did with the other ones, using the hot glue and the wood glue. And then once I had them all attached and it was looking good, except for that one little piece, I had to add a little bit more hot glue. I decided to start on the roof. So I just took some more of that balsam wood and I'm just cutting pieces down. I didn't care if they were all the same size. I was just kind of trying to go by the front pieces, just trying to fit the angles of that. And so I cut those pieces down based off of those angle sizes, if that makes sense. So once I get this all glued in, I'm again using the wood glue and the hot glue, and I just had that gap right there, so I just added a smaller little piece. And the reason why I didn't care is because I'm going to cover it with the vinyl, but we'll show that in a little bit. But before I did that, I cut down, I had all these small pieces, and I'm just cutting them down to fit underneath, because, you know, we got to have that shiplap on the bottom too. So these were really, really small pieces, and I think I just used hot glue on these, but once I had them all cut out, I just glued them all in place. And then after that, I took my white chalk paint and painted them all white, and then I painted the trim with the black. So here I also painted or cut out some pieces to make the X on the door, and I'm just going in there and hot gluing those in place on the back side of it. Then I decided to make a little window on the top. So I cut these little pieces all down to make a window and to fit. And I used my miter shears and did the angles on them and everything. And then I cut some really small pieces to go inside to make an X. And I almost didn't glue them because they fit in there so tightly. But when I used my marker to kind of paint them, I decided to go ahead and add a little dab of hot glue and then glued them inside. Then I'm just kind of touching up where I got some black on the white. And after that, this is where I added the roof. I realized, oh, I forgot to do the vinyl on the roof. So here I'm just taking pieces off and placing them, trimming it all down on the edges. And I'm just making sure that like the colors match. I think I did, except for the very first piece, I didn't do that part. But you know what? You don't really can't really notice. And not only that, it's Farmhouse, right? Nothing on Farmhouse is exact. So after I had the pieces all on and trimmed down, that was all there was for it. And I think it came out really, really cute. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one. You could always add a bottom on it if you would want. I decided not to, but I love it. And I think it gives me an idea for some future projects.
Okay, so for this first project, I used some tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. I did not use this paper. I changed my mind, but I did use this home sign from Dollar Tree, my Waverly Antique Wax, and my Waverly Chalk Paint in the color Plaster, plus some more you'll see here in a little bit. And then some, I think they were 12 millimeter half beads. So I started off by painting the home sign with my plaster chalk paint, and I had a really hard time, guys. I had an idea of what I wanted to do with it, and it just wasn't working out. So I ended up, after I painted this, just going to bed and waiting because I had an idea of what I wanted to do with it, but I wasn't sure it was going to turn out. So I decided to just call it a night and sleep on it. And so the next day I decided to go ahead and do it, and I'm so glad I did because I love the way this comes out. So after that was painted, the next day, I took my tumbling tower blocks and I hot glued them together in strips of 5. So I had 24 strips of 5 blocks hot glued together. And it did take a little while, I must say, but I am so happy with the end results. So then I took my antique wax, my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle, Mineral, Cashew, my Apple Barrel, Nutmeg Brown, and my Folk Art, it's Coffee Latte, I think. Coffee Latte. So I used my antique wax there, and I'm just brushing it on all the top, the sides, and the bottom, and then wiping off the excess. Now, you don't really have to do this side. Only the top and the bottom strip will need the side to be painted, but really, I was doing one side, and then later I realized I didn't have to do that many. So then I took my other paints, and I am going to use them kind of like a stain. So how you do that is you just spray it down with water. Now, it's a lot easier with acrylic paint because your chalk paint is thicker. This, I put way too much of the truffle paint in there. You really don't need very much paint, but you just want to spritz it down until it's a really watery solution, I guess you could say. And then once you have it like you want it, then you're just going to do the same thing and paint it on. So I just painted on 4 more with the truffle brown and wiped off the excess, just like I did with the antique wax. And then I did that with all the rest. I did 4 in each of the other colors, and I watered each color down. So then after that, I lined them up, and I'm using my little square ruler there to make sure it stays straight. But I am doing every other one longer. So like you see my little ruler there, I am taking this and I'm going to hot glue it a 1/2 inch in from the end of the other one. And I do that all the way up. And then I just took some of the jumbo craft sticks and I go ahead and hot glue them onto the back just to give it some added support. Then after that, I took my home sign and I'm just going to use my hot glue. And by the way, I am using Sure Bonder wood glue sticks. I figured that hopefully will give it a stronger bond. So then I took this braided rope I've got off of Amazon. You can find it in my Amazon store if you'd like, or you could just use regular jute rope. That would work fine too, or twine. And I'm just kind of weaving it in and out of those strips that are sticking out farther. Then I turn it around and I'm just going to tack them down with some hot glue on the back. Then after that, I took those beads. I didn't color them. I left them the natural color, and I am just hot gluing one on each one of those little strips that doesn't have the rope. So it's opposite of what the rope is. And I did that on both sides. Then I took my my buffalo check ribbon. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just scrunching it in the middle, making my little Brenda bow. And then I'm just going to tie it with my jute string there. And I will tie a knot, and then I'm going to wrap it around the middle and tie another knot, and then trim off the excess. I really didn't need to do that because I am going to cover it with one of those beads, but oh well. Once I fluffed it and dovetailed the ends, I'm going to hot glue it to the top, and then I'm just adding one of the beads right there in the front. And there it is. And you guys, I absolutely love the way this came out. I am so glad I decided to go ahead and try this. And I did get the inspiration. I saw a picture frame that had like that coloring wood that I really liked. So I wanted to try that. Okay, so for this next DIY, I'm using this candlestick from Dollar Tree, two of these birdhouses from Dollar Tree. This other birdhouse I got from Michael's earlier, last year now, I guess. And then I printed out a few sayings from my Cricut that I'm going to use as well. So I'm going to start off by giving the candlestick and the birdhouses all a good painting with my plaster chalk paint there. Once they were all painted, I took my Waverly antique wax and I am just painting the fence and the base of the birdhouse there. And you can see that the chimney was painted black. I didn't like it, so I ended up painting, going over it with my white or my plaster chalk paint and then the antique wax as well. Then after that, I took my antique wax and I am painting or waxing, whatever you want to call it, the top of that one birdhouse that looks like it is shingles, I guess. I don't know what you call it. And then after that, I just kind of painted the little perch there. And then I'm just doing a soft distressing all around that. If you see the other ones are really distressed, I decided I didn't want it distressed that much, so I did end up going over it with some more of the plaster and then distressed it lightly. And I did the same with the candlestick, but on the bottom here, I'm just taking more of that antique wax and I'm just painting it a solid color with that wax. And then after that, I am taking my E6000 and my hot glue and I'm just putting it along the bottom part of that candlestick. I turned it upside down because I wanted to use the bottom as the top. So then I just took the one birdhouse that had the fence and put it on top of the candlestick. I'm using just hot glue here and I am gluing it to the side of the roof of that birdhouse. And then I'm taking the last birdhouse and I am gluing it to the opposite side of the roof of the second birdhouse, just like you see there. And then, you guys, I should have done this before I glued the houses together, but after I glued them together, I'm like, what was I thinking? So I went ahead and I just carefully got my little words transferred onto each house, and it says nest, sweet nest, instead of home, sweet home. Get it? So then after I got that all on, I took some moss and I put it right in where that little fence was because it had an opening. And then I took some of these little flowers. I'm not sure what they call these. I got these from Dollar Tree, as well as that moss. And I'm just cutting them down and sticking them inside of that moss there. And I just do a few little ones. And I just think it came out looking really sweet. It just gives it a sweet little look. And then after that, I'm going to take some jute twine I took some of this burlap ribbon. It's got some kind of a lace and burlap. I got it on Amazon. It should be in my Amazon store. And I'm just wrapping it around. You can use anything though. You could use the Dollar Tree burlap and lace ribbon that they have. That would look really good too. And so then after that, I took some jute twine here and I am just hot gluing it to the front of that bottom part of the birdhouse. Then I took some more jute twine and I just put little bows right above each of the holes inside or on the birdhouse is. And there it is. I think it turned out really cute. And you'll have to let me know what you think about it. It's a little whimsical, but yet a little farmhouse and just, I don't know, different and cute is what I say.
Okay, here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I took some of these tops from some 5-gallon paint stir sticks that I had. And then I took like 6 of these 5-gallon paint stir sticks that I got from Amazon. And then I got this square dowel from Hobby Lobby. It's a half inch by 36 inches. And I know Hobby Lobby does have those. So I started out by laying out the 4 full-size 5-gallon sticks. And here I'm just measuring where I need to cut those pieces smaller. And then I went out and cut them with my miter saw. Then I am just using my wood glue and hot glue to put these onto the back to keep that together. Then after that, I went along the side with my wood glue, and then I just did some ends with the hot glue just for that temporary hold while the wood glue sets. And I did that on both sides, and then I did the same thing on the ends. I took my wood glue. I was running out there, can you see? And then I'm going to use some hot glue on the ends of the ones that are, I don't know. You'll see. There, just like that. I did it on both ends. And then I just attach that piece. And I did that on both sides. And then I took another one of these it's not even half. It's just the top portion of a 5-gallon paint stir stick. And I'm just hot gluing it to the top. I did one on each side like you see. And then I'm taking that square dowel. I did cut that down and I put a little hot glue on the end. And then I just real gently, you're going to see it kind of fall a little bit there. I put some more hot glue on the other end. I'm sorry this isn't in frame. And then I'm just real gently putting it in between those two end pieces. So that's what you got look like. I also have a stapler that has little brad nails in it, and I put some brad nails along the sides of that top piece as well. After I painted that whole thing white, I am taking my elephant gray and I'm doing some dry brushing. And then I took some cashew and I am doing some dry brushing over that elephant gray. I wanted to have like multi-tones, make it look like it's real rustic. So then I took some hazelnut, all of these by Waverly, and I went over that as well. And I just kept brushing until I got the look I was going for. So here I'm just adding more of the gray because I was like, okay, it's too much white showing. So I just went over with more of the gray. And then I'm going to just keep alternating all the different colors
not white, but the hazelnut and cashew until I had it looking the way I liked it. And honestly, you guys, it looks like it's reclaimed wood. I just love the way this turned out. It's just so pretty, so pretty. So I did that all the way around that whole little container I made. Then I took 5 of these bigger planters and 6 of the smaller ones, and I am just taking that chippy brush and my plaster chalk paint, and I'm just doing some heavy dry brushing all the way around. And then I do some around the inside. Sorry, that's not in frame. I think I need to work on my phone holder because it needs to go up a little bit, I think. But anyways, I took my mini ones and I did the same thing, just went and did some heavy dry brushing. And then after that, I put some pieces of pool noodle inside. And then these poppies I got from Dollar Tree just recently. I showed them on my haul. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description box. But I just thought they were so pretty. So I put in the big pots, I put one of the poppies, and then I'm just filling in with the boxwood greenery. And then with the small ones, I just put in the boxwood greenery. Then I realized after I started filling these, I wanted to wrap this with some jute twine. So I'm just wrapping around 3 or 4 times. And I did this on all the jars. I just wrapped with some jute twine, and then I'm going to make a little jute twine bow. And I'm going to hot glue that right where I had glued the twine together. And there it is. That's all there was for this. I love the way this looks out. Oh my goodness. I love the way this came out. And yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think about this. And it's so versatile. I'm putting this on my dining room table, but I just love it. 3. So for this DIY, I'm going to take some wood animals that I got from Hobby Lobby. And then these little wood pieces I got today at a yard sale in our community. I was so excited. And then some ribbon from Amazon, and then my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink and white. So I'm going to take those 3 wood pieces and I'm going to paint all 3 with that ink color, which is black. And then I'm taking my animals. I did the cow, the pig, and the chicken and painted them with white. And then I am just hot gluing them on each of those 3 things. Now, I'm sorry I didn't show you. I did use my Cricut to print out these little words, but I forgot to change my Cricut settings to vinyl, and it had cardstock and I had to cut it all the way through, so it was a little challenging getting it on. So I'm just wrapping some twine here around those little indentions that were on these wood pieces, and then I am going to make a little bow with that twine, and I am going to hot glue that bow on the right hand side of 2 of them, and then I hot glue it on the left side of 1 of them. So the 2 end pieces, it will be a bow on the right, and then the middle piece will have a bow on the left. And it probably doesn't really matter, but I just thought it gave it a little something different. Then I took my little lighter here, and I'm just gently, carefully getting all the little fuzzies off, and I did kind of burn the end there a little bit. So be careful when you're doing that. So then I took my ribbon and I laid it out, and this was probably about 2 inches. I folded it over and then hot glued it together. And then after that, I am going to take these wood pieces and I am going to glue them onto that ribbon. And I'm going to use some tumbling tower blocks in between, just so that I can make sure that they are all evenly spaced. So after that, I was getting ready to put my hot glue there, and I thought, I don't want it to go through because this is burlap and it might go through. But so I just put it on the ribbon on this one. But actually, I think after I did it, I'm like, why didn't I just put it on the back of the plaque? So on the other 2, I just put it on the back of the back of the plaque. Ooh, that's a hard one to say. And then I put it on there, on the ribbon there. So, yeah.
And then I'm going to do the last one there. And after that, I don't think I showed it, but I believe I did kind of like I folded in the end piece of the ribbon on the bottom as well, like I did the top. Then I'm taking these beads that I got off of Amazon around Christmas time, and they'll be in my Amazon store. I believe they already are. And I'm just making a little hanger, and I think I used about 8 of these little beads. And then once I have them all on, and as you can see, I just put some tape on the end of my twine and then running them through. So I'm just cutting that off, and then I am going to run it through the top loop of that ribbon, and then I'm just going to tie a knot, and I tie it so that it's pretty close to the edges of the ribbon there. And I tie it real tight and trim off those legs, and then just kind of scrunch that part in underneath the ribbon. And that's all there was for this one, and I love it. I think it is so adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Oh, I just love it. It is so farmhouse, and I am just loving the farmhouse right now. Can you tell I love these colors? So for this DIY, I took some of this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, these wood letters from Dollar Tree, this wreath form that came in a 3-pack from Dollar Tree, and then this picture plaque I got from Hobby Lobby at Christmas time when it was 50% off. So, and I used some boxwood from Walmart. So I start off by taping off my little slots there because I am such a messy painter and I didn't want to get the paint on the different slots. But here I am still using the same colors that I used on the previous DIYs, and I painted each one of those slots with one of those colors. And then after that, I took my burlap ribbon and I just cut it down to fit around that wreath form. And I did paint that wreath form with my Waverly chalk paint in the color white as well. Once I had that burlap hot glued onto the middle, I am just going to hot glue my letters on to that burlap ribbon there, as you see me doing. And once I have all of those letters on there, I am going to, I believe I'm going to take it and hot glue it onto that plaque. Yes, there we go. Then after I hot glue it on there, I am going to take these boxwood. I just pulled off a couple of them. I'm going to hot glue them to the top there, as you see. And then I had some solo wood flowers, 3 little white ones that I am going to add right into the middle of the boxwood there. And then after that, I'm just going to take the hangers that came off of the that plaque, and I'm just going to add that jute twine right back where they were to begin with. Oh, sorry it took so long to show this, guys. I was actually in the airport while I was editing this. Okay, so here I am. I'm just using one of my big tapestry needles to thread the twine through the holes, and I tied double knots, and that's all there was for this DIY. And I think this is so sweet, and I absolutely love this one too. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Okay, so here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I'm going to take one of these signs I got from the Dollar Tree around Valentine's Day, these metal farmhouse animals I got from Dollar Tree recently, this plaid vinyl from Dollar Tree, some words that I printed out on my Cricut, and 3 of these 8x10 canvas frames and my Waverly chalk paint in the color white. So I start off by measuring the vinyl out to fit on top of the canvas frames, and I'm just going to clip them where they need to be cut. The nice thing about this plaid with the lines is that it's easy to cut those areas. And then once I had them all cut out, I just put them on one on each frame, like you see me doing there. After that, I just hot glued 3 of those frames together. And then I took some 1 gallon paint sticks that I had previously cut them down from a previous project, and I just added them to the back for extra support. Then I took some of these reed sticks I got from Amazon. They are in my Amazon store, and I cut them all down to fit, to make kind of like a frame. And so I'm just cutting down the middle pieces there, but I had cut the other pieces down to fit, and then I moved on to painting them white as well as that sign. While those were drying, I took my apple barrel paint in the color Nutmeg and went over all of those animals. And then I am just using some wood glue and hot glue to adhere those little sticks all around the sign. After that, I went to my Cricut. Now I'm going to show you guys my process, since some of you asked for that. And I am just, I hit the text part and found the font I wanted and typed in the letters. And here I'm just sizing them down to what I wanted them to be. And once I had them sized, I am going to attach and weld. That way they all print out together. Then I hit my Make It button. And then when it comes up to this part, I like to space them out a little bit so I have some room to cut them so that I don't have to try and weed them all together. It just kind of makes weeding a little easier. And so once I have them all lined up the way I want it, I'm going to go in and put my mat in my Cricut and then hit the continue button and hit the start. And then it starts cutting. And then once it was all done, I just cut the pieces apart, and here I am just weeding. Now, I am using the Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby's vinyl, and it's okay. Sometimes it sticks a little bit. That's kind of why I cut that there, because it was pulling up some of the words. And so sometimes it just is easier when you cut it down. Once I had everything weeded, I am just taking my transfer tape and I am going to add the words on. I add eggs onto the chicken, milk onto the cow, and bacon to the pig. Then I took this open daily sign and I put it right in that little spot on that sign, and then the farm fresh. I did later also print out the word closed, and I put it on the back of that little piece there that rotates. I thought it would be kind of fun to do. After I had them all on, I just went and did some dry brushing all around the sign, all around the edge, and then I'm going to do that little piece in the middle that moves. I just kind of move it out and then do distressing all around it, and then push it out the other side so I could get that way too. And then I'm just going to dry brush all around the middle of the words and the signs and everything, just so that it has that rustic farmhouse look. And then after I have that all done, I am going to use some super glue here and hot glue to adhere those animals to my canvases. And then after I am done with that, I'm going to take some tumbling tower blocks that I took 5 of them and I painted them white, and I am just hot gluing them to the middle of the frame, I guess you could say. You'll kind of see here in a minute where I laid it, but then I put 2 on top of the side ones, as you can see there, and then I'm just going to hot glue that sign right in place. Just like that. Now, the reason why I did 2 is because I wanted it up a little higher so that I could turn that open daily around. Otherwise, the tumbling tower block was blocking it. So then I just used some of this ribbon to make a hanger. And after that, I'm going to use some raffia, and I just cut off a handful and wrapped some twine around it and tied it in a knot. And then I'm going to hot glue it above the animals. And I did this because I wanted to cover the little holes for the hanging. And I just love the way this came out. And so I'm just going to hot glue it there. And then I do trim them down a little bit. I didn't want them covering the heads, you know. So I just trimmed it down, and that's all there was for this. And you guys, I absolutely love this. I am just in love with this. I think it is so stinking cute. And as you can see, I did distress the frame as well. DIY number 2. So for this DIY, this is my lavender DIY. I have these 2 picks from Walmart of lavender. I'm going to use some 1 gallon paint stir sticks. This house sign I got from Dollar Tree. And my Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, some tumbling tower blocks, and then some styrofoam from Dollar Tree. So I start off by, I removed the little stickers that were on the back, and then I'm removing the hanger. Then I'm just kind of sanding it and then using my little, what is that, caulking or plaster, something like that, to cover up those holes. Then I painted it with my plaster chalk paint. And while that was drying, I took tumbling tower blocks and I am just hot gluing 2 together. And I think I made 6 or 7 sets. So here I'm taking 2 of those sets, and I am taking 3 of the paint stir sticks that I had cut down. I had taken them out and cut them with my miter saw. And I'm just lining them up where I want them to be on those 2 sets of tumbling tower blocks. And here I'm just marking them so I know exactly where I'm going to lay them. Then I'm going to use some wood glue and some hot glue, and I am going to glue them down. And I did that on all 3 of those slots, as you'll see me do here, which I'm only going to do 2 because I already did 1. Anyways, then I took 3 more of those sets of tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did on this last one. Just going to mark them and use the same kind of glue. Then I took the one with the 3 and I am hot gluing it using hot glue and wood glue to secure it to that first little bottom of the crate. I'm making a crate here, by the way. Then I took another tumbling tower set and hot glued it, to that bottom crate. And then now I'm just adding some more of the stir sticks, and I'm alternating with hot glue and wood glue, and I did both sides. So it's a 3-sided crate. So then I went and I painted it with my plaster chalk paint, and once it was all dry, I'm using wood glue and hot glue, and I am going to glue that house to that crate, just like you see there. And it is open a little bit in the back because it was a little higher than I was expecting it to be. And I wanted you to be able to get a good view of that house. So then I just put that styrofoam in and filled it up with my lavender. And then after that, I realized, I forgot to do my distressing. So I'm just going around with my elephant chalk paint and just distressing all around the house and the crate. And then I did a little distressing around the middle of the house as well. I did kind of have to move my lavender aside there. Then I took this little home sign that came with it, and I am just doing some distressing all around it in the middle and on the edges, and I decided I was just going to go ahead and use that. And so I'm going to first hot glue some ribbon. Now I got this ribbon at Michael's right before Easter. It was 50% off. I got a whole bunch of ribbon, you guys. They had some beautiful ribbon and I couldn't decide. But anyways, I got this purple striped ribbon, and then I'm going to use some of this black gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I'm just kind of doing a double layer of ribbons here. And then after that, I'm going to hot glue that little sign right on the front. And that's all there is for DIY number 2. I love it. Of course, I love purple, but I just think it is so, so pretty. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Okay, here's DIY number 1. Okay, so we start out on this DIY by using this decal I printed with my Cricut, or cut out with my Cricut. Some of these reed sticks I got off Amazon, and a couple of these long signs from the Dollar Tree. So and also my elephant and white Waverly chalk paint. So I'm going to start off by taking the hearts off of these signs, and then I am actually going to use the back as the front. So I'm removing the hanger here. They were just stapled on, and then after that I'm going to add these jumbo popsicle sticks. I'm using some wood glue and hot glue, and I think I had like 5 or 6 all the way up the back side, which was the front side, now is the back side, just so that it connects them all together. Excuse me. And then after that, I paint the whole what is now the back or front white. And then I'm just taking these sticks and I'm just kind of measuring the sizes that I need. And then I'm going to use my miter shears, and I am going to cut them all down to the size that I need. And then once I have them all cut down, here I'm just I knew I needed a top and a bottom the same size, so I just used that other stick to measure. And then once I had them all cut out, I'm using my chalk paint in the color elephant, and I painted them all with that elephant gray color. And then I'm just using again my wood glue and hot glue, and I am gluing them all down in place to make like a frame. And then I took another one, and this one is going in the middle, well, kind of in the middle of the door. We're making a barn door here. And then I am just making them, cutting the ends to be at an angle. And I'm sorry this isn't in view where I cut them. The board was kind of big for my table, but I'm just using my miter shears there. You can move the little knob around to cut at an angle. You could probably see it a little bit better there. And so then I realized, okay, I have to cut them straight on these so that they don't go over the one that's already laying there. So just like you see there, and just connect it. So once I had them all cut out and fitting like they were supposed to, I'm going to glue them down with that wood glue and hot glue, just like I did before. And then after that, I took some more elephant chalk paint, and I'm just doing my distressing. Figured this time I remembered to do it before I added my decal. And then here I am just burnishing this decal onto my top portion of my barn door. And I will try to remember to, I think I did save this, so if I did, I will have a link to it in my description box. And if it doesn't work, please let me know. I'm still learning how to do all of this kinds of stuff. And so if it's not working, I need to know so I can figure it out correctly. But I think I know how to do it. So then I took one of these door handles that I got off of Amazon, and I just used some super glue and hot glue and glued it on. Then I just took one of these small wreath forms from the Dollar Tree, and I am just adding some boxwood greenery to it, and I'm just tying it down with some floral wire. And then once I had it all on there, I just took my bow, made the awareness ribbon, scrunch it up, and I am just using some twine to keep it in place. And after looking at this, I kind of think I might go back where I add this bow and add a little bit more boxwood. It looks a little flat on top. But I'm just going to add this. I'm going to get a zip tie and put it behind that bow, in between the bow and the twine that I used. And then I'm just going to add that to the top part of that wreath form. And then I'm going to use hot glue to glue it in place. But you might want to use something a little heavier. It took a little while to get it to stick. Then I'm just going to cover the back with some shipping paper, hot gluing it all down so that way the back is all nice and pretty. If you want this to hang, you could always use a hanger. I am going to have this above my kitchen cabinets, so I'm not going to have it hang, so I didn't put a hanger on it. But there it is. You have to let me know what you think. I just love it. I've been wanting to do a barn door for a while now, and I just love the way this came out. And here is DIY number 2. So for this DIY, you guys, I'm using again my Waverly chalk paints in the color white and elephant. Another decal I made with my Cricut, and this window from Dollar Tree, which I've been seeing them at Dollar Tree again. Some of this vellum paper I got from Hobby Lobby. These wood blocks from Dollar Tree. 3 of these mini terracotta pots from Dollar Tree. Some of these wildflowers from Dollar Tree. Some floral foam. And then these stickers from Dollar Tree. I do end up using some lavender too because I didn't have enough of those wildflowers. So I started off by taking that little sign. It was just made off cardboard off the front. It was just hot glued on. And then the back unscrews. And so I took it off because, you know, I figure I could use that on something else that's not needed. So I painted everything white there. I painted the sign, the window, the blocks, the terracotta pots, and then this little wood piece. I'm going to use this instead of that cardboard piece that I took off. So I painted them all white. And here I'm just using my elephant gray to do some distressing. So I distressed that plaque. I distressed all of the 4 blocks. I distressed the little mini pots, and then I'm going to do the windows. And when I did the windows, I'm not going to show you this, but I actually went and did all in between each little crevice there. It took me a little while to get it all done. But once it was all dry, I'm just taking some super glue here, and then I'll take a little bit of hot glue, and I'm just putting it around on different areas of this windowsill so that vellum paper can stick and stay in place. So you see there, I just did the super glue. Here I'm doing some hot glue, and then I'm just going to place it there. And then once I am done with that, I have to pull off the excess glue there. I am going to take my decal, and I realized, oh my goodness, this is too big. And I had sized this to the little cardboard thing that we took off the front of the window. So that's why it wasn't fitting right. So I just cut my transfer paper a little bit, and then I am just putting it closer together, and it works out just fine. So after that, I am going to use some super glue and hot glue and attach that sign. Here I'm doing it right in the middle. I did have to remove it, and luckily I did it before it adhered too much and brought it up a little bit because it was a little too low and my flower pot was covering it. So then I am taking these stickers and I am just putting them on to the front of these blocks. Now, I did not do Mod Podge over it. I wanted to do Mod Podge over these letters just to make sure they stay on well, and I forgot. So I do want to go back and do that before I put it up in my kitchen, but I would recommend that too because they're sticky but not real sticky. So then I'm just using some wood glue and again some hot glue, and I am just gluing those blocks all together so that they spell home. And then after that, I'm going to take that window frame and I'm going to use hot glue. I was going to do wood glue and hot glue and I forgot, but it's pretty sturdy. I was thinking I could probably put a popsicle stick behind it too to keep it adhered if I need to. And then I'm just going to cut some of this floral foam really small, and I'm just sticking a little bit of hot glue on it. Not much because you don't want it to eat it away. And then I'm just sticking them in the pots. That way I have something for the flowers to stick into. And then I just cut down all these little wildflower stems, and I actually ended up not having to cut them. I just pulled them off of the stems and then just started sticking them into the flower pot. And then I got some lavender and just kind of cut them down too and added them as well. And then here I am adding a little super glue and hot glue to the bottom of the pots. Sorry, guys. And then I am just adhering them to the top of those blocks. And then after that, I'm going to take some twine and I'm going to wrap it around my hands. I don't know, about 8 times or so. And I'm sorry this is out of frame, but I just take the ends and I wrap one around the middle going one direction and the other end going the opposite direction. And then just tie a knot and that's all there was. And then I'm just gonna hot glue it right onto the front. I did that 3 times, and there it is. And I just love this little window frame. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Number 2. So for this inspiration piece, I am going to use some more chicken wire. I am going to use this decal that I created on my Cricut. I'm going to use one of these little bamboo sticks from Amazon, my chicken from Dollar Tree, this 11 by 14 canvas from Walmart, and then my Waverly chalk paints in the color white, crimson, steel, silver lining, and I also use ink and then my antique wax as well. So I'm going to start off by taking the hanger off of that chicken, and then I'm going to paint it with my white chalk paint. While that was drying, I, just like the first DIY, I went around and removed all the staples, and I have to tell you, this canvas from Walmart, it was much easier removing the staples than the ones from Dollar Trees. I don't know why. But anyways, once that was done, I did the same thing. I just went around with my wax, brushed it on, and then wiped it off with the baby wipe. And once I was done with that, I also did the same thing on this stick that I got from Amazon. And then I went ahead and just attached the chicken wire. I go around and I staple the corners, and then I go around and staple the sides, making sure I pull tight so that way it is taut. And then once I have it all stapled on there, I am going to start painting. No, I'm not going to paint my chicken. I'm going to do this first. I took this bamboo stick and I am just going to miter the edges so that they are angled, and I'm cutting them down to fit. And then I'm going to use the piece that I cut down to just kind of cut down the other 4 pieces that I'm going to need, or other 3 pieces that I'm going to need, because I'm going to use 4 altogether. And then once I had those all cut down, I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue them all in place. After that, I'm going to do my painting. Now I'm using the steel by Waverly here, and then I'm going to use silver lining and ink. And I've got the picture up on my laptop next to me, and I'm just kind of trying to shadow like they did on the inspiration piece. Now this rooster is different than the rooster in the inspiration piece, so it was a little harder, but I just kept kind of playing around with these colors until I got it looking the way I thought resembled the inspiration piece. If you're new here, I just want to say welcome. My name is Brenda, and I am so happy you stopped by today. If you like home decor on a budget, thrift flips, holiday decor, gift ideas, then I'd invite you to hit that red subscribe button and become part of our growing YouTube family. And then make sure you hit that notification bell to notify you whenever I upload a video. My normal upload times are Monday at 5 p.m. And then I usually will have be participating in some kind of challenge throughout the week as well. And if you like today's video, make sure you all give me that thumbs up and comment, because that really helps my channel grow. It lets YouTube know that you like my content, and it will push it out even more. So here I'm just coloring in the top part, the comb of the rooster, with my ink. And then I don't remember, what do they call the thing that hangs underneath their beaks? I don't remember, but I'm painting that red too. If I had my niece here, she would tell me. She knows everything about chickens. And then there I just painted an eye. And like I said, I was just going around just kind of looking at the picture and trying to make it look as similar as I could. And I just kept playing around with it. This was probably the hardest part, the eye and the face, to try to make it look real. But I just kept kind of playing with it. I do color in the eye a little bit more and add a little shadowing to it. And then I'm going to color this all red, but I just didn't like the way it looked. It looked too cartoonish to me. So I do end up painting the beak white, and then I end up kind of shadowing it with some yellow and black, I believe. But you just paint. I'm not an artist, so if you're not an artist, don't feel like you can't do this. I just kept playing around until I got it to look the way I liked it. And then once it was done, I'm just taking my decal here and I am just burnishing it and putting it on top of my rooster. And then after that, I'm just going to take some wire. This wire came off the chicken wire, and I'm just putting it through the hole where those hangers were on that rooster, and I'm just attaching it to the chicken wire. Super, super easy. And then I am going to take some Mod Podge and go all over that because it is metal. I wanted to make sure the paint doesn't come off. And then once that was done, I was finished, and there it is. I think it looks really adorable. My piece is just a little bit smaller than the inspiration piece, but really theirs was $90. I paid about $4.50 for mine. Huge difference. I think I could handle. Here's inspiration piece number 3. So for this inspiration, I'm going to use these baskets that I got from Dollar Tree. I am going to use this spray paint that I thought was rust color, and when I painted it, I realized it was desert rose gold, but it still comes out pretty. Then I use my Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant and white, another decal that I created here, and then I'm going to use these long signs from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start this project by taking out these baskets and spray painting them with my spray paint there. Then I came in and I removed the hangers from the back. They were stapled in, so once I got the staples removed, I just did a little sandings to help cover those holes. Then I removed that pumpkin and saved it for this fall, and then I went ahead and I am taking off this paper on just around the sides. It hung over the ends, and I did not want you to be able to see it, so I'm just kind of removing all of those pieces there. Then I'm using some jumbo craft sticks from Walmart, and I'm using my wood glue and hot glue, and I am just attaching those two pictures together with those craft sticks. Then I turned it around and I painted that front with my white, and now I'm just using a chip brush and my elephant chalk paint and just doing some streaks, because in the inspiration piece it had streaks, but it was a little too thick in some areas, so I took another chip brush and my white and just kind of went over it to help soften those lines. And then once those were all done, I am just going to add my decal. And I don't know why I cut these up, so I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, guys, but it worked out. So I'm just here, I'm measuring where I'm going to lay my saying, and I'm just burnishing it on. And then I'm going to add the leaves and the lines, and it was pretty easy. Honestly, this came on really easy for me. I was pretty amazed. Usually I have a problem with my vinyl, but it worked out really well this time. And once I have this leaf on, I'm going to put those other lines on, and then I'm just going to add the basket. And it's super easy, guys. This was a very easy project if you have a Cricut. If you don't, you could always use stickers from Dollar Tree. Yeah, you could definitely use stickers from Dollar Tree. You could use the yard sale stickers to make the words, and you could use, they have the rub-on transfers you could use. So here I'm just taking some faux leather ribbon I got from Dollar Tree last year. Now if you don't have any of these, you can find, I'm pretty sure you can find some at Hobby Lobby, or you could buy the big strips at Dollar Tree that they have right now and cut them down. But I just cut them all down to small sizes, and then I'm just hot gluing them together. I'm putting 2 on a basket. Now when I painted the baskets, I did take 4 tacks out there and spray painted them the same color, and then I'm just going to push those tacks through the faux leather and then push them through the side. Now you can just be really careful that you don't bend your tacks, because they go through, but it's a little hard pushing them through, but they will go through. They do go all the way through the board, so I did turn them around and put some hot glue over the tacks that went through. That way you don't get poked. And then once I'm done with this, I'm done. But if you want to use a hanger on them, I was going to, but I didn't have any screws that were short enough. So, and we are getting ready for a trip, so I will probably be doing that at another time. But there it is. But you could just definitely put a hanger on the back and then cover up the back with shipping paper. You have to let me know what you think of this. I think it came out really looking cute. Those are some faux fruits there and some greenery, and I just think it is adorable. And the inspiration piece was, I think, $52.50. My cost $5. Huge difference. Here is the second one. I loved this wood round she made. I thought it was so pretty, and I thought I want to recreate it. So I took this antique Waverly wax and my lacquer paint in Waverly, and then I'm going to take this 14-inch round from Hobby Lobby, and then this welcome sign came off a recent project I did off of a Dollar Tree sign. So I start off by measuring out and taping off my lines, and then I'm going to paint the middle with my antique wax and the sides, or the top and bottom, with my lacquer. If you're new here, I just want to say welcome. My name is Brenda, and I am so happy you stopped by today. I hope you are enjoying today's video, and if you are, then I would invite you to hit that subscribe button, become part of our family, and then let me know in the comment box below that you are new here. I love to get to know you. Normally I upload my videos on Monday at 5 Central, but I do also participate during the week in some challenges. But if you are returning, I appreciate you guys also very much. But if you all like today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up before you go and comment, because as I've said a million times before, that helps my channel grow. And it lets YouTube know you like my content, and it will push it out for more to see. So I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you who do comment and give me that thumbs up. It does mean a lot to me. So after I got this all painted and it was dried, I took some ribbon that I had, and I am just outlining the brown part there with my ribbon. And I just wanted to kind of give it that country rustic feel. Hers was a little more shabby chic, which I loved. I loved that blue color too. It was so pretty, but I just wanted to do something a little more rustic country. So once I had that red ribbon, gingham ribbon on there, I took some of this braided twine that I have. I got this from Amazon as well. I love this stuff. And I am just framing that red ribbon with it. And I absolutely love how this came out, you guys. I just love this. But anyways, I did that on the top and the bottom of the ribbon. Then I took some half beads, and I'm just placing them. I think they were like 3.5 inches apart, something like that. And I just placed 5 down, and then I used my hot glue to glue them on. Here I'm just using my super glue gel to the back of that welcome sign, and then I'll use a little bit of hot glue just so it has that immediate hold. But I'm going to put that right in the middle there. And then after that, I am going to take some ribbon. I can't remember if I got this ribbon from Amazon or from Walmart at Christmas time. I think it's from Amazon. If it is, I'll make sure it's in my Amazon store if you're interested in it. And then I took some of this ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm just making my bows like usual, making the awareness ribbon and then scrunching it up in the middle, tying it with some twine here, and then I'm going to fluff it and dovetail it. Now, if you don't like the twine look, you can always take some of the other ribbon and fold it over and glue it to the back, or wrap it around the middle and then glue the back, so that way it has a different look to it. I know Tammy with Happiness Created does hers like that. I like the twine. So then after that, I thought it needs some greenery. So I took some pieces of boxwood here, and I'm just poking them through behind the twine in that bow. And then I'm just going to hot glue it right to the top. And after that, I'm going to turn it around and put a D hook into the back. And that is all there is. I love using my husband's power tools. It just makes me feel so good. And there it is. I absolutely love the way this came out. I think it came out just as pretty as Shawnee's. You have to let me know what you think about this as well. So here is the final project I'm going to recreate today. So for this one, I was lazy, didn't want to cut out some more gallon stir sticks, so I used those plaques from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use this page from this calendar that I got last year. I love this calendar. I wish I had more of them. And then I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color lacquer and some more of that braided twine that I love so much. So I'm going to start off by removing the stickers on the back of those plaques. And then these hangers are on there by these little staples. So they're kind of hard to get out. They're really in there deep. So I just went through and I worked really hard at getting all of those hangers off of each one. And yeah, I had to use my little picker tool there to get them out. Then I'm just going to use my wood glue and hot glue to attach two of them side by side. Then I'm going to take wood glue and hot glue, and I'm just attaching some craft sticks to give that seam a little more so it's a little more sturdy. Then I'm using some more craft sticks, and I measured and made sure that these two sets that I'm putting together were the right distance apart. And then I used the hot glue and wood glue to attach those craft sticks so that we have one big piece. And I painted it all with my lacquer, and then I went over it with my antique wax just to darken it up some. And here I'm just measuring where I'm going to have this calendar page, and I'm marking it so I know exactly where to lay my Mod Podge. So once I have it all marked, I'm just going to put on a really thick layer of Mod Podge. That is because the paper is a little thicker than like your napkin or tissue paper, and I wanted to make sure that it adhered well. So after I did about 4, I think, slats or so, I'm going to go ahead and put my calendar page on there, and then I'm just going to smooth it all out, and then I will continue putting more on there. And then I also put some on the top, and I'm letting it dry. And while it was drying, I took one of these little crates from Dollar Tree, and I am also painting it with my lacquer color. After it was all done, I took my X-Acto knife, and just like the very first DIY, I'm cutting in between the slats there so that you have a little bit more of a rustic look on this sign. After that, I am going to take some of this twine, and I am just hot gluing it to the back, and then I'm just going to wrap it around the front. Now, I thought about weaving it in and out of the slats, but I just didn't like that, like the top part would not have it covering it. So I decided to just go around it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the crate. I'm just going to add some of that braided twine all around the front. And when you cut this twine, you guys, it does start unraveling. So that's why I'm putting a lot of hot glue there just to keep it from unraveling. And then once I get this wrapped around, I'm going to hot glue that end as well. Oh, I do hot glue it in the middle just to keep it in place, and then hot glue it at the end towards the back. I did this off camera because I have to do this away from my fan, which is right above me, but I did use a lighter to defuzz all my twine there. Then after that, I'm just taking my wood glue and some hot glue. I was trying to use it and it was still closed. And I'm just putting it onto the back of that crate, and then I'm going to attach it to my little pallet sign. Now, if you want this to be a hanging sign, you can easily make a hanger for it and just make this a hanging sign, but I'm going to make this a shelf sitter. And I decided to kind of put a little bit of hot glue there down, and I had made a bow, and I just hot glued that on. And then I added some pool noodle to my little crate there, and I'm just adding some boxwood greenery. I love this stuff. I use this all the time, and every time I see it at Walmart, I get some more because I use it so much. But and it's only like 97 cents, and I love it. I think it's really pretty. It feels great. It doesn't feel real plasticky. Anyways, if you're at Walmart and you see it, pick some up. It's great. And then once I got that full, I had these new flowers from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to, I don't know what they are exactly. I mean, it says the name on there, but I've never heard of it. But anyways, I took 3 of these, and I'm just going to layer them inside that those boxwood greenery. And I just love it. Just kind of gives it that country rustic feel. Then I decided I wanted some more of this braided rope along the front, the top and the bottom. So I went ahead and hot glued some on. And that is all there was for this. I absolutely love the way this came out. I love Shawnee's too. Hers was so pretty with that blue. I just loved it. So I decided to do kind of the opposite and do red. So you have to let me know what you think about this one. And if I did Shawnee good by recreating her things. And make sure after you check out this playlist, you go check out... Okay, here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I am going to take out this decal that I created off of my Cricut. And these 3 wood planks I got from Dollar Tree. And then I am going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color white and elephant. And then I'm also going to use some tops from some 5-gallon stir sticks. And I'm going to start off by cutting off all of the strings from these plaques, and then I'm going to lay them out and glue them together. Now I had to turn them around because they are kind of warped on some of them. So I was trying to make it a little more even. So then I take these 5-gallon stick tops and I am going to glue them to attach those pieces together. And I just put some wood glue in the middle and hot glue on the ends. Now, if you don't have any of these 5-gallon wood tops, because, I had cut my sticks and I had those left over, you can always use jumbo craft sticks or rulers or anything like that. And then I just painted it with my Waverly chalk paint in the color white. And then I am just doing some dry brushing with my elephant color and doing some distressing around the edge as well. Now, if you don't like distressing, you can just do it however you like it and whatever makes you happy. This is just inspiration and this is what I like. So I am taking this chicken. Now, I did not print this together because I had the green leaves. So I did this part separate, but I'm just going to add this to the middle of that decal. And then I'm going to use my transfer tape to transfer the whole thing onto my boards. Now, I don't know, there may be an easier way of doing this with my Cricut. I don't know, but this is what I found has worked for me whenever I'm doing multicolored things. So then I'm just taking my decal here and just rubbing it or braying it, burnishing is the word, onto my sign. Now I am going to have in my description box a link to this since I created it. But the link is only if you have Cricut Design Space. So unfortunately, I don't know how to do it any other way yet. I am trying to learn how to make things so that I can share them with you guys. So be patient with me while I am learning. So I just took some jute twine here and I tied a knot on the end and then I wrap it around the board 3 times. I trim it, tie another knot, and then hot glue it. The reason why I do the knots is I just feel like it gives it a little bit more for the hot glue to hold on to. And then I do that on both sides. And then after that, I took some of this ribbon I got from Amazon. I will have that in my Amazon store, which you can find in my description box as well. And I just do the awareness ribbon and scrunch it up. And I'm taking one of those jute hangers that I got off of one of the plaques there. And I just wrap it around a few times on the middle and tie it. So that way we have a bow. And then once I'm done, I will just trim off the little tails there. And then I will cut that ribbon off. And then I will dovetail the ends. And then I am going to hot glue this to the top left corner of my sign. Super easy project. I love the way this came out. I just love it. And then I'm just used some shipping paper from Dollar Tree and I'm hot gluing it all the way around the back, and then I trimmed off the excess. Now I'm taking more of these tops and I am just using some wood glue and some hot glue, and I'm going to glue them on top, 2 on top of each other, if that makes sense. And the reason why I'm doing this is normally I would use tumbling tower blocks to make a stand for my sign, but I figured that sign is so big that they wouldn't work too well, so I decided to use these. Plus I need to use up all these that I have. But I'm just going to hot glue these onto the back so that I have a stand. Now if you want to hang this, you could use a hanger instead, but I'm going to put this above my cabinets in my kitchen, and so I thought I would rather have it standing up instead. So after that, it's complete. And I love the way this came out. You'll have to let me know what you think, but I came up with this saying, and I just thought, I cook, I don't enjoy it, and I'd much rather have a self-service kitchen. 3. So for this DIY, I'm going to take this little metal wreath that they have out right now. This house that I got at Christmas time from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and this vinyl. I do use also the color sage, but I'm going to start off by pulling off the hanger there. It's all stapled in, as well as the trim, and so I'm just removing all the staples. If you don't have one of these houses, you could make one your own. It might not have the chimney, but you could just either use like the wood arrows, or you could also just get a rectangle sign and, cut it they cut pretty easy with like a box knife. You could cut the angles, and then you could make the top parts with tumbling tower blocks. But anyways, I just got those top pieces off, and it was ripping off the front, and I don't know, my OCD got to me, and I kept pulling it off most of the paper there. So then I did something wrong here. I should have had this house facing the other way, because I wanted to cover the back. And when I went to go put it on, I realized I cut it out the wrong way. It wasn't going to fit right. So I'm going to have to use the front with that vinyl. So I just went with my water and sprayed it all down, and was able to scrape up all that excess glue and paper that was on it. And then I just put my buffalo check paper right on top of the house. And then I painted these little top pieces here with my Waverly chalk paint and the color ink. And I did actually take a small paintbrush and go all around the edge of that house too, so you didn't see the brown board. And then while that was drying, I took my white chalk paint, and I'm painting in the word home. And then I'm going to take my, not sage, celery chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the leaves as well. And I love the way this wreath came out. One thing I think I show you, but I will after I get done painting and it's all dry. I did do 2 coats. Here I put on some Mod Podge as well, just to keep it, since it is metal, it will chip off easy. So I'm putting that Mod Podge to keep it from chipping. Then I took some of that buffalo check ribbon, and I am putting it through the hole there, and I am just going to glue the ribbon together, and then I'm going to glue it to the top of that house. And then once that is done, I'm going to take those little roof pieces. Now they are kind of crooked. They didn't cut them very well, but I got them on the top as best as I could. I'm just using some hot glue. And then after that, I didn't like that you could see some of the edge of the, here I'm making a bow out of twine, but you could see some of the edge of the vinyl, because to make the top part of that house fit in together, that's why it was crooked, because it wasn't covering the top edge that well. So I just went ahead with some twine and just hot glued it all the way around the house. That kind of just gave it a little bit of a border too. And that way it just kind of covered up that rough edge. And then after I have that all done, I think that's all I did. I do cover the back with some shipping paper, and I do make a little hanger for the back as well. I'm sorry I didn't show that to you. I don't know what happened, but here it is. I think this came out so cute. You'll have to let me know what you think of this as well. Number 2. And for this DIY, I'm going to use this calendar page that came from last year's calendar. I love this calendar. I wish I had more of them. Anyways. And then my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ocean, and then this sign I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start off by removing the hanger. And I'm going to put it aside because I am going to use it. And then I'm going to remove the front pieces here, and it comes off really easy I'm using my Cricut spatula there, and it just rips this paper right off. I loved it because I was able to get all that paper right off the front. Once it was done though, I am going to just use the back. I didn't want to fiddle with taking off that back piece or all the glue stuff on the back. So I'm just using one of my glue sticks that I get from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going all the way around this square piece with my glue. Just a heavy, heavy layer because I want to make sure that that calendar piece sticks. Then I'm just going to place that calendar piece on the top here. And as I put it on, I see the little hole on the top of the page for where it hangs. And I thought, oh, I should cover that up. And I thought, oh, no, I don't need to cover up. I'm going to put these pieces on there. So as I'm getting these pieces, I'm like, why are there 2 holes in this? I don't know why there's 2 holes. I'll just cover it up with spackling. Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know where my brain was. So I covered it up with spackling, and then I painted all of these pieces with my ocean color. And then I took some painter's tape and I took those beads off the hanger, and I'm just going to stick them on the painter's tape, and I'm going to paint all of them with my ocean color. I love doing this technique. It just, I don't know, for me, it's so much easier than trying to do them on the bag or in a bowl. I just love doing it this way. So then once these are all dry, then I just flip them over and I do the bottom part as well. And then I'm just laying these pieces out. And this is where I realized, oh my goodness, these are for the hangers. I had it in my mind there was only 1 hole because of that calendar piece for the hanger. And then when I went to put it together, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just did that. So luckily that chalk or caulking wasn't dried all the way, so I was able to use my Cricut tool to poke a hole through them and then use it. So here I'm just using hot glue to glue all of those pieces on. And then once they were done, I took my antique wax and a paper towel, and I'm just antiquing this picture just to make it look even a little more rustic than what it did. After that, I took some more of that twine, and I am just going all around the picture and the edge, just adding that in just for a little added detail. And then after I had that all completed, I'm going to take some more of this and I'm going to wrap it around my hands, and I'm just making another bow like I did on the previous one. And as you can see, I did add my little beads hangers there that actually came off the picture. I just put it right back in, and then I'm just making this bow. I'm going to cut off the tails and hot glue it on the top there. And that's all there is for this one. I really love the way this came out. Like I said, I wish I had more of those calendars. I hope, I don't know if there's a way to get more of these or not, but I love them, and I just love each one that's in that book. And I'm almost out of them, which makes me sad. Here is DIY number 4. So for this DIY, I'm going to use one of these candlesticks from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this welcome sign from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this mirror from Dollar Tree and this wallpaper from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use my Waverly wax and Waverly chalk paint in the color white and ocean. So I'm going to start off by removing the back, and this comes out really easy. There's just some little teeny kind of like clips that hold it in place, and you just have to remove the cardboard and the mirror. And then I painted it white as well as the candlestick. Then I'm just going over both of those with my antique wax. If you're new here, I want to say welcome. I am so glad you stopped by today. My name is Brenda. And if you like home decor on a budget, holiday decor, thrift flips, gift ideas, then I would invite you to hit that red subscribe button and become part of our family. And then let me know in the comment box below that you are new here. I love to get to know you. And for all of you guys who like this channel today, make sure you hit that like button and comment, because you all know far too well that it helps my channel grow, and I do really appreciate it, and I love reading your comments as well. So after I was done with all this, I took my ocean paint and I'm coloring in the flowers on this little metal piece here, and then I took my white and I colored in the word welcome and the wreath part. Now, I do end up going in a little bit later. I'll show you. I do go in and paint the welcome blue because I felt like it was too hard to read. But after I had this all painted, I did go over it with my antique wax and gave it a good distressing as well, like you see right here. And again, if you don't like distressing, you don't have to do that part. Then I took my mirror and I'm tracing out that wallpaper. And then I just cut it out and I put it onto the back of the mirror. I didn't cover up the mirror. You could if you want, but I didn't. And then I just put it in, well, I'm going to put it in. I put some dabs of hot glue. Sorry, you can see all my lights and stuff. And then I'm just adding the back into place there. And you know what? I really even love it looking just like this. If you wanted to recreate it, you could even just, I seriously considered not putting that welcome sign on there because I just love the way this looked in that. But I went over that with antique wax, and then you can see here I am just painting the welcome sign with my ocean color as well. And then once that was all dry, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I took 2 tumbling tower blocks and painted them with that blue too. And then I hot glued them because I'm going to hot glue this sign. Did I hot glue or did I use super glue? I think I hot glued, but I would recommend using super glue for a long time hold or E6000. And then once I had that done, I'm putting some super glue and hot glue on this candlestick. Now, I thought about doing this in the middle to give it a little bit better coverage, but I decided to do it in the front. And then I took some more tumbling tower blocks. I did paint them off camera later, but I'm just going to hot glue them to the back just to give it that added support. And I think I do 3 here. I do 2 on top of each other and then 1 right behind it. And that's just to kind of give it some added support. So then after that, I took a bow or some ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby. I love this ribbon. I think it's beautiful. I made a bow and I am just adding some greenery picks from my boxwood greenery that I get at Walmart that I love so much. And I get tons of it because I use it all the time. And I'm just going to hot glue it right in front on the bottom to where that candlestick and the round piece meets. And then after that, I decided I wanted to make that welcome word be a little easier to read. So I'm just going around with some stitching lines using my white paint marker that I got from Dollar Tree. And then I just kind of went around the flowers too to just kind of help highlight what they are so it doesn't look like big blue blobs. And I did that on the bottom flowers as well. And that's all there was for this one. I really love the way this turned out. Again, I think even without the welcome sign part, it would still be really beautiful with just that wallpaper. Yep. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is my other guest, my nephew Nehemiah.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a blessed week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi friends, welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. Today I have a special guest. This is my niece Kiva. Okay.